I am Cindy and this is Terry. We want to welcome you to Starting Point Church's Biblical Study Night. We invite you to meet with us each Wednesday at 6 p.m. This is going to be a time for open discussion where you can participate along with us and we'll just all learn together.
Yeah. Tonight is just a get to know us night, and we will be able to have active interactions next week, hopefully.
Right, so be sure and join us and tell others about it too. We'll have good discussions, we believe. As we get started tonight, we're going to toss around just a few questions to kind of give you an idea of what our study is going to be like. How do you describe your faith? Can you answer what it's based on? When you accepted Christ yourself, what helped you make that decision? What helped you come to that? Was it all about blind faith for you? Or was it more of an academic understanding of the Bible and of God's plan, where you dug deep and found answers? Do you believe the way you do just because your parents believed it? Can you tell others what you believe? How would that look? What would be said? Could you actually lead someone else to Christ? If someone had questions about something about the faith, will you be able to describe it to them? And whether someone spends their eternity with Jesus or not, it depends on what they believe, what they truly believe.
Yeah. Just in case, we are going to explore those and be discussing some of those answers. We're going to actually go in and learn about apologetics, which means, I know it sounds like a big apology, but it's not. It's actually going in and describing why you believe the way you believe with biblical backup. It also gives us rationally using the Bible. We'll be using, them to we'll be using Bible scriptures in order to explain our answers, and in order to prove, it'll give us the proof that, the Bible is real and that how we apply it to our lives is real. We've kind of gotten away from apologetics with the way our country, with the generations of people. The older generation is slowly going out, and we've got the newer generation that are believing in other things like, I knew at the top of my
New Age.
Yeah, New Age.
Questioning everything.
Yeah, they question everything. But we are going to go and use books of the Bible in order to answer some of those questions that people have kind of gotten away from. We're going to go back to the basics.
In 1 Peter 3:15 and 16, it tells us, "But in your heart set apart Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect, keeping a clear conscience, so that those who speak maliciously against your good behavior in Christ may be ashamed of their slander." The gentleness and respect part is how apologetics is to be approached, so that we can touch people's hearts and not just preach at them. We want to bring them along to an understanding as well and give them all the facts so they can deduce for themselves and understand where it's coming from. We want to share it with them out of love and concern for their eternity. We're to give an answer to everyone who asks, like it says in that verse, but in today's culture, people sometimes have grown away from respecting the church as much and just taking that for a fact. Back maybe the 60s and 70s, when people kind of walked away from the church, a lot of younger people, it was because they began leaving the church. They found it to be hypocritical maybe. Sometimes people felt maybe invisible. Churches need to overcome the bias from treating people badly at times. And we've all as a church body been guilty of that throughout the many, many years. And we want to be able to answer their questions, because a lot of times if people have questions about the Bible and they can't get the answers that satisfy them to where they understand all of it fully, it's harder for them to believe. They just have questions that aren't being answered at times.
Yeah, this is a way for us to be able to share the Bible with you, answer your questions, and we're going to try to start it off by leaving you with a few questions so that you can kind of look them up for yourself, and then you can check to make sure that what we're telling you is actually true and faith-based and Bible-based, because there is a lot of teachings out there that don't exactly follow the Bible. They just take little excerpts of it and make it their own, but they pull it out of context, and we don't want to do that. We want you to be able to answer the questions. And there's a lot of questions out there, like a lot of people, the big one that you've seen all through the years is, does God exist? Well, we're going to show you through the Bible that yes, God does exist, and Jesus, man or Messiah, again, we'll be using and following along in the Bible, books of the Bible to talk about whether Jesus, as a man and a Messiah, talk about the resurrection, how it could be true, and how the Bible qualifies and proves that it actually happened. And also it's going to look at how the different people saw him and saw his life and how it pertains to us now today as well.
We'll also be discussing things like how authentically, historically true the Bible is, where you can find biblical characters and historical things that have happened through the Bible, and find it in secular text as well. And through archaeology, that's found things that are proven different parts of the Bible. So we'll historically be able to dig into that. Discuss why some of the texts are differ at times, because different people are writing them, and but they're all giving that true account.
Different points of view.
Yeah, we'll be talking
Same
about
story.
creation. A big one will be part of different religions, and why there's so many different religions, and how you know which one is real, and why there's so many different denominations, because even within our Christian church there's a lot of different denominations, and if the different denominations can't agree on things, how is it that we can decide what's right and wrong for ourselves through the Bible, finding out in the Bible what it actually says about it? These questions have answers that will help us discover the truth, so we can bring others into a closer walk with Christ and allow us to grow more dedicated in our own beliefs. First, we have to dig into the truth and relevance of the Bible and the text. So we'll look at things like Christianity as a historical and testable faith, because it is proven true, and go through that. Basic differences in Christianity and other religions of today. And we're going to clear up a few misconceptions about the Christian faith that many have today, so we can go through that. Like, for one, some say faith is blind. You should just, you can only be a real believer if you just believe on blind faith only. Well, some people, it takes learning and understanding and answering their questions to get that.
Thomas.
Yes, like Thomas, perfect example. Christianity, the truth of Christianity, and even though the church has been through a lot over the many years back, different hypocrisies and injustices that were done back and forth, and we'll kind of go through those and explain them a bit, and questions that a lot of people have, being a good person, how that's not really enough to get you to heaven, that there's more to it than that, just being a good person.
Yep. And did a lot of people say, how can God let bad things happen to good people? Well, there's reasons. There's lots of reasons. God is a good God, and we'll get into why, bad things happen to good people. It's not always because God lets it happen. Sometimes it's because of our own foolish human mistakes. And we're also going to look at miracles, how those happen. Well, because how can a fish swallow a person, like Jonah, and healings, resurrections, and, how Jesus was born as well. And we're also going to look at the biblical text about morals and what it means, how, it relates to our life. It doesn't necessarily have to be verbatim, because everybody gets something different out of the books of the Bible, and it means different things for different people.
So next week, we really hope you'll join us. We'll be live next week on Wednesday, 6 p.m., and we'll start reviewing some of those different misconceptions, and hopefully some of the questions and input you're going to have will help us all go through that.
And if you have questions that we can't answer, we will actually go and research them and let you know right at the top, and have answers when we come back the next week. Also, if you like what you hear, we actually have services on Sundays starting at 11, and on September 6th going to be starting Spanish services. So that way we'll have kind of like bilingual, you know,
Yes.
Spanish in the morning, English in the afternoon, at 11 o'clock, Spanish at 9:30 in the morning. And hope to see everybody there.
Starting Point's a place for new beginnings. Everyone is welcome, and we really hope you join us as we learn and grow together on Wednesday night Bible study and our Sunday mornings. God bless.